Hey there everybody, today we're going to be talking some more about angles. Our I can statement for today says I can understand complementary and supplementary angles. Now we spell complementary with an E right here. It's a little bit different than if you get a compliment. It's like, oh Wanda, your shoes are so cute. That's like a compliment, right? That would have an I right here, but when you're talking about an angle, it needs to have an E right there. So complementary and supplementary. Here we go. All right, same E right there. So they're kind of spelled the same from the E onwards. It's just the beginning of the word that's different. Okay, so for our warm-up, we're just going to talk about some of that vocabulary like what we did yesterday. For adjacent angles, those are angles that are right next to each other. Specifically, they share a side. That might be a good note to make. They share a side. Okay, what about vertical angles? So those are pairs of congruent angles. They are equal to each other, made by two intersecting lines. And let's just draw some of those. You can draw your own. I'm going to draw mine like this. So see these two lines intersect, and then this angle right here and this angle right here, they would be congruent. They would have the same measurement. Also, this angle and this angle would also be congruent. They would also have the same measure. So they are opposite from each other. Okay? Next up, warm up B, it says how many degrees are in a right angle? A right angle is going to look like this, sort of, kind of, and it's going to have 90 degrees. And what about how many degrees are on one side of a straight line? So if you have a straight line, this is going to have 180 degrees. You can see how it's kind of like two 90-degree angles. There's that 90 degree and that 90 degree. Add them up and you would get a total of 180 degrees. Okay, so moving on. It says, in addition to adjacent and vertical angles, there are other angle relationships that are used all the time. Two of the most common are complementary angles and supplementary angles. So what are these things? Complementary angles are two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So two angles where you put them together, or maybe they're already together, and together they form a right angle. So it might look like, let's see, here's one angle right there. See how that's smaller than 90 degrees? And then my other angle would be this one. It's going to share a side and then go like that. So you see how together these two angles form a 90-degree angle. So that would be complementary. Now with supplementary, those are two angles that add up to 180 degrees. So let's see, it might look like this. What if this was your first angle like that? And then your second angle shares a side right here and then continues on that way. So together, this angle and that angle, they form a line, and a straight line has 180 degrees. So that's what supplementary angles are. Now, it's an easy concept to get, but what happens usually is we kind of mix up those names, like which one was complementary and which one was supplementary. So here's a little trick to help you stay straight on which one is which. Well, if you look carefully, the names are in alphabetical order, right? C comes before S, and the numbers are also in numerical order. 90 comes before 180. So if you want to just remember that they're in alphabetical and numerical order, for me that really helps. So I'm just going to say alphabetical and numerical order. Alphabetical and numerical. I cannot spell and talk at the same time, so excuse me. All right, there we go. So remembering that they're in alphabetical order and numerical order. Let's look at some examples. Now in example 1, all you have to do is name the relationship. You can go with a C or an S. So let's take a look. It looks like these two angles are forming a straight line, so that's going to be supplementary. It looks like these two angles are forming a right angle when you add them together. They're just a right angle, right? So they're going to be this guy. It's going to be complementary. Maybe pause your video, see if you can get the answers to these two. And I'll go ahead and tell you the answers. These two together, they form that perfect L shape, so they're forming a 90-degree angle. In other words, they are complementary. Whereas these two angles, they come together and form a straight line, so they are supplementary. All right, now in example 2, we actually get to find some measurements. So let's do that. It says find the measure of angle B. Okay, so first of all, this angle and this angle Are they going to add up to 90 degrees or are they going to add up to 180 degrees? You can tell that they're forming together a right angle, so they are going to add up to 90 degrees. In other words, they're complementary, right? So if we know that this angle plus this angle equals a 90-degree angle, in other words, 90 degrees, let's just write out what we just said, but let's write it out as an equation. Okay, we said this angle plus this angle, so 31 plus, we're going to call it B, they're going to equal 90 degrees. So, hey, there's our equation. Now all we would have to do to solve it, you're going to subtract 31 from both sides. What are you going to get? 59, I believe. There we go. Let's do another one. Okay, this time we have this angle, the one that's labeled B, and we have this angle, the one that's labeled 117. We don't really need this line, it's just kind of there to throw us off. So together, are these two angles going to equal 90 degrees or 180 degrees? They are forming together, are they forming a right angle or are they forming a line? They're forming a line, so that means we need to say that they add up to 180 degrees. So we just said that B plus 117 equals 180 degrees. So let's write it down that way. B plus 117 equals 180. And now all you have to do is subtract 117 from both sides and you'll get the answer. I don't know that off the top of my head, so let me borrow my calculator real quick. 180 minus 117 is going to give us 63. So 63 degrees for that angle right there. Oh, and I forgot my degrees here. There we go. Let's look at example C. So we have 49 degrees here, and then we have B right here. So are these two angles coming together to form a right angle, or are they coming together to form a straight line? If you said straight line, that's it. That's right. When you put them together, they form this straight line right here, right? And straight lines have how many degrees? 180. So let's review. Angle B and angle 49, if you add them together, they're going to equal 180 degrees. So I'm just going to write that down. B plus 49, add them together, they're going to equal 180 degrees. Now to solve your equation, just subtract that 49 from both sides and you're going to get B equals, what is that, 139? Something like that? Let's see if I'm right. 131, that's close. Okay, 131, and put your little degree sign right there. And let's look at this last example here. So you have angle B right there. You have a 29-degree angle right there. When you put them together, what did they come together and equal? Looks like they come together to form this nice little L shape. So in other words, a right angle. So you know that B and 29, when you put them together, they're going to equal 90 degrees. So when you add them together, they equal 90 degrees. Let's just write that down. B plus 29 equals 90. Let's see if I can do this one in my head. B is going to equal 61, I think. Let's check. 90 minus 29. There we go. I finally got one right. 61 degrees. Let's go on to this last little question here. We're almost done for today already. So thought question. Another name for two supplementary angles is a linear pair. A linear pair. Can you see why they would call it that? And here's an example of a linear pair. And it's the same thing, again, as two supplementary angles. So this angle A plus this angle B come together to form a straight line. So this resulting angle is just a straight line. So why might you call it a linear pair? Well, it has to do with this root word inside linear. Do you see the word line hiding in there? L-I-N-E, line. So linear just refers to a line, and as you know, a pair is just two of something. So they call it a pair because it's two angles that come together to form a line. And that's what you could write right there. So two angles that form a line. And feel free to write that in your own words if you want to. Now let's just take a quick sneak peek at your assignment. On the first page, all you have to do is name the relationship. You don't need to find any measurements. So you're going to give me a C or an S for all of these. On the second page, let's see if I can do that. Here we go. On the second page, you're actually going to find some measurements. So you're going to have to use your brain a little bit more and figure out if the two angles are going to add up to equal 90 degrees or if they're going to add up to equal 180 degrees. And if you get lost, just refer back to this notes page. I think it's really helpful. So if they are supplementary, you would set them equal to 180. So you would just do 53 plus b equals 180. Whereas if they're complementary, you're going to set them equal to 90. So here you would do 68 plus b equals 90, and then you would solve those equations. Okay, so that's your little tip. I will let you get to work. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye.